I've had my xTool B3 laser for a few weeks now in my shop, and in this video I'll be showing you some of the advantages of having a tool such as this in a woodworking or DIY workshop. Needless to say, this laser is perfect for art projects with almost all kinds of materials, like I showed in previous videos. Also, it will allow you to improve some work processes to build all kinds of furniture. A good example of this is using it to build all kinds of templates to use with a flush router bit. In my case, I need some drawers for my desk, so I'll show you how to use the xTool P3 to cut the routing templates using an acrylic board. For some time, I've been thinking I could use a miter box for small pieces. I'm referring to the kind of small pieces that are tricky and dangerous to cut with a table saw. Before I had this laser, I thought about building something simple, but having this tool motivated me to design an ingenious miter box that allows me to select the cutting angle quickly and accurately. It's very easy to assemble as it is designed by adding parts, aligned together with dowels. I used hard maple wood and some bolts. I could have also used plywood or even MDF. At the end of this video, I'll show you all the possibilities this miter box offers and how to use it. I'll start by showing you how to make the routing templates to make drawer pull handles. The first thing you have to do is design the handle in a CAD program. To get the most out of the piece of acrylic, I'm going to make a different handle model for each of the 4 sides of the acrylic. I'll use the 6mm thick piece of acrylic I had in my shop. I place it on the laser bed and use its camera to take a picture of the acrylic, allowing me to import and position the vector I just made. I'm going to divide the vector into several layers to organize the cuts. The laser finishes the job in a few seconds, so I'm going to thread the hole so I can install the aluminum L's that will act as stops. I'll do some testing on this piece of hard birch plywood. I only have to mark the center of the board and use some double-sided tape to stick the template onto the board. As this is hard plywood, it's not a bad idea to cut some material before routing, but little by little I managed to route the pole handle. Now I'm going to do some test runs on a piece of poplar plywood to see how the 3 other handles models look. This is more or less what these handles would look like on a piece of furniture. These are the drawers I'm making for my desk. Even though they're not done yet, you can see how the handles I just made with this template will look. It's time to show you how I made the miter box. But before moving on, I'd like to remind you that if you're interested in buying the new xTool P3 laser, I can share with you a discount code that will give you a significant discount. All you have to do is send me an email and I'll reply with your personal discount code that you can use on the xTool website. You'll find my contact email in the bio of this channel or on the footer of my website. Besides the discount, if you make purchases through these affiliate links, you'll help me continue making videos like these. This is the 3D model of the miter box I made, which is included in the plans available on my website. The plans also include 2D vectors in various formats, so you can import them into any lasers apps like I did. Like earlier, I have to position the vector on top of the maple wood piece. Again, I'll organize the cutting and engraving processes by layers so that I can have more control over the order of the machining processes. First, I'll do the holes and engraving, and finally the outer cut. As it's fairly thick hardwood, I'll make the cuts in 3 passes. The holes need to be very precise, so in the plans I included 2 vectorized files. One has the exact measurements of each hole to use with a CNC, and this one I'm using now leaves a little margin to make up for the laser's curve. The laser finished cutting the main piece, and now I'm going to cut the rest. In these shots you can see that it cuts the wood without issue and that the smoke extractor is working properly. It's time to glue together all the pieces of the miter box. This is a quick and enjoyable process thanks to the holes I made for the dowels. I only have to apply wood glue and insert the dowels. These will align all the pieces and prevent them from moving when applying pressure with the clamps. Now that the glue is dry, I'm going to countersink all the holes that need it. Also, I thought now I could do some engraving into the main piece of this tool. It's time to put all the pieces of the miter box together. I'll start by placing some rubber bumpers on the bottom to prevent the box from moving when using it. Now I insert the bolt that will act as a rotation axis, using also a locking nut. I'm also going to install the bolt and knob that will allow me to lock the box once I have selected the cutting angle. I have to cut the lock, and I'll use 2 pieces of black acrylic, stuck together with double-sided tape. I'll use some pieces of curly maple to make a fence for the box. First, I'll engrave the measuring system on the laser. After doing that, I realized I made a mistake, which has already been corrected in the plans. Let me know in the comments if you can spot it. I'm going to use double-sided tape and screws to fasten these pieces to the miter box. All that's left now is to cut the guides for the handsaw. Having done that, I realized they're a little small, so I cut some new larger ones. I also included these new pieces in the plans. I put the pieces together with super glue, making sure they're flush. It's important to make sure they're square. If that's not the case, you can solve it by sanding down the bottom a little. I'll use these bolts to fasten these guides to the miter box. On the top, I'll use a dowel to strengthen the bond between the parts. I'm going to place a piece of wood veneer that's a bit thicker than the saw blade to act as a spacer. The first time, the bolts have to be squeezed in a little. After screwing them in twice or 3 times, the issue is gone. I'm going to check if the saw is straight and square. I insert it into the channels and, with a square, I do some checks. In my case, I lucked out and it turned out pretty good on the first attempt. If that weren't the case, I'd have to loosen the screws I just fastened and adjust the pieces to act as guides. Finally, I'm going to place the piece that serves as a sacrificial board with double-sided tape. Now I'll show you how to use this miter box. The measuring system allows me to cut pieces of the required length in a fairly approximate way. Selecting any cutting angle is very quick, and after some testing, I've been able to observe that straight cuts and 45-degree cuts are quite precise. The miter box is perfect for cutting all kinds of profiles, and not just wood, like this PVC pipe. To test the accuracy of this miter box, I'll try to make an octagon out of curly maple. First, I adjust the cutting angle to 22.5 degrees. Since I'll need to make repetitive cuts of the same length, I'll use a clamp and a cutting stop. After cutting at an angle the 8 required parts, I'm going to sand them down a little before gluing them together. To make this step quicker, I'll use super glue. I have to say I'm impressed with the end result. By looking at this octagon, we can see the laser did a perfect job cutting all the parts of this project. This is the perfect kind of saw to use with this miter box. It's a handsaw for guitar making with small teeth, and a 250mm long and 40mm high blade. It's possible to use saws that are a little smaller, but ideally you should use a saw with the dimensions I provided. Another detail you should take into account is that when cutting, I have to tilt the saw forward a little to avoid damaging the miter box right where you select the angle. Before saying goodbye, I'd like to remind you that I have some discount codes that will allow you to get a significant discount when buying the new xTool P3 laser. You only have to send me an email and I'll reply with your code. You'll find my contact email in the bio of this YouTube channel or on my website. See you soon.